is our home. When the storms of life drown you out, when your faith is low and you're full of doubt, see the children play, 'cause there is hope enough. When the winds of change will burn your fields and disasters sing, your life won't yield. Remember that there is hope enough. You look out and see every person for themselves. They say we're alone on a sick, dying hill, trashing out problems like plastic don't kill. But every living creature calls this place home. Remember that you're not alone. When the storms of life drown you out and your faith is low and you're full of doubt, see the children play, 'cause there is hope enough. When the winds of change will burn your fields and disasters in your life won't yield, remember that there is hope enough. They say we're alone on a sick, dying hill, trashing out problems like plastic don't kill. But every living creature calls this place home. Remember that you're not alone. When the storms of life drown you out, when your faith is low and you're full of doubt, see the children play, 'cause there is hope enough. When the winds of change will burn your fields and disasters in your life won't yield, remember that there is hope enough. When the storms of life drown you out and your faith is low and you're full of doubt, see the children play, 'cause there is hope enough. When the winds of change will burn your fields and disasters in your life won't yield, remember that there is hope
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Rise as you're willing and able. Right here? Hello. Rise and sing our gathering song, 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Open your eyes to the soul. Open your
I invite you to join me in reciting our chalice lighting this morning. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Alicia Ruslow, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. Here we offer a community of hope, a community that can journey with you through life. A warm welcome in particular to our visitors, both in person and online this morning. St. John's is proud to be a welcoming congregation. We seek to be a spiritual home for all, and as such, we honor and value the racial, economic, cultural, age, physical ability, sexual orientation, and gender diversity of our members and visitors. There are many great things happening at St. John's. Please review your order of service, and you may want to check out the TV in the lobby or the bulletin boards in our fellowship hall. Our service today will be just a little bit different as we explore chalice circles and, that's from last week, sorry. But it's still, our service is going to be a little bit different. We've got some video stuff going on as we celebrate this wonderful planet we live on. So if you would please put your cell phones into church mode, and welcome again to St. John's.
Time to sing again. One of my very favorites. In the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home, number 1064. I love this hymn.
I invite you to join me in reciting our affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. Unitarian Universalism is a tradition that welcomes people who believe many different things. We offer a community that will be with you through the joys and the concerns that come into our lives. Each week at St. John's, we honor the experiences of our lives in our ritual of stones for joys and concerns. Here, we do this by placing stones representing what we carry into the sand that represents our community over all the years we have existed. If you would like a joy or concern to be read, please write them out and put them on the table. Or if you are joining us online, you can put the joy or concern into the chat, and we will read that aloud as well. I invite you into our ritual of stones for joys or concerns. We have several. We place one final stone for all of those of you who are joining us online and can't place the stones on your own. And we have several joys and concerns to share today. I will start with the online. Melissa Rowland says she's injured her ankles and has to return to wearing a cam boot and crutches. But her joy is she got the auction-winning parking spot. We're sorry to hear about your ankles, Melissa, and glad that you can park close to the building. Emily Hodges shares a grief that on Tuesday, her wonderful first husband, and I apologize if I mispronounce this name, Isaac Scotton, died of pancreatic cancer just a month after diagnosis. Oh, he was a consummate musician and a gentle soul. Sorry for your loss, Emily. Pete Asman says, sorrow for the passing of Barbara Bowman Prairie last month. She was active at St. John's in the 1970s. And in person, Joseph Finsel says, a joy, family and friends surviving the Hurricane Helene and the aftermath, and concerns all the still missing and those who were injured or killed in the storm. Indeed. Erna is grateful that her nephew, Hardy, survived a tree crashing into his bedroom in Georgia. Wow. Early Friday morning during the hurricane, the tree barely missed him. Goodness. I'm so glad he's all right. And we have grief for the ordinary citizens of Israel, Gaza, West Bank, and Lebanon. Indeed. It's a lot to hold today. I want to invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation with these words by Lynn Cox. Spirit of life, ground of our being, root of unified mystery, growing into branches of expression, bring us together now. Bring us close to the earth, ear to the whispering grass, quietly, attentively, waiting with slow breaths, listening for the very stones to cry out with their rocky stories of tectonic plates meeting and parting and meeting. Their mineral memories of days, molten rocks flowing and joining, their ancient legends of stars born out of the collapse of other stars. Help us to remember, help us to piece together our oneness with matter, our oneness that matters. With one more deep breath, may we rise, star stuff, walking and rolling across the surface of an impossible blue-green planet. May we join together to heal what is divided. May we find wholeness within, without, among, and between. Eternal source, seed of the universe, help us to grow peace. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. So our story for all ages is called What Do You Do with a Problem? And it is going to be a video, so anyone who wants to is welcome to come out here and be in this space, but you can also stay in there if you'd prefer, because it'll be showed on the screen. And I want to let you know the person sharing the story is Reverend Dr. Sophia Bentecourt. She is the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association.
As we continue the celebration of our revival together, I am so excited to bring you a story by one of my favorite children's authors, Kobe Yamada. The images are by May Bisum. This story is called, What Do You Do with a Problem? I don't know how it happened, but one day I had a problem. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. I really didn't like having a problem, but it was here. It was here. Why is it here? What does it want? What do you do with a problem? I thought. I wanted it to go away. I shooed it, I scowled at it, I tried ignoring it, but nothing worked. I started to worry about my problem. What if it swallowed me up? What if my problem sneaks up and gets me? What if it gets me? What if it takes away all of my things? I worried a lot. I worried about what would happen. I worried about what could happen. I worried about this, and I worried about that. And the more I worried, the bigger my problem became. I wished it would just disappear. I tried everything I could to hide from it. I even found ways to disguise myself, but it still found me. And the more I avoided my problem, the more I saw it everywhere. I thought about it all the time. I didn't feel good at all. I couldn't take it anymore. This has to stop, I declared. Maybe I was making my problem bigger and scarier than it actually was. After all, my problem hadn't really swallowed me up or attacked me. I realized that I had to face it. So even though I didn't want to, I really didn't want to, even though I was really afraid, I got ready and I tackled my problem. When I got face to face with it, I discovered something. My problem wasn't what I thought it was, and I discovered that it had something beautiful inside. My problem held an opportunity. It was an opportunity for me to learn and grow, to be brave, to do something. It showed me that it was important to look closely because some opportunities only come once. So now I see problems differently. I'm not afraid of them anymore because I know their secret. Every problem has an opportunity for something good. You just have to look for it. And that, my loves, is the end of our story.
Sing the children out.
Kathy. I want to invite Jean Nightingale forward to tell us about the Green Sanctuary and what St. John's is doing and will do. And she has show and tell.
Good morning, St. John's. I'm Jean Nightingale, and I've been involved with the Green Sanctuary Partners here at St. John's. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. So, as most of you know, St. John's is a fully accredited Green Sanctuary church. This is no small achievement, and we should all be very proud. Now the UUA Ministry for Earth has mapped out the next phase of the Green Sanctuary process. It's called Green Sanctuary 2030. And this gives us a new opportunity to rededicate ourselves and our efforts and revitalize Green Sanctuary here at St. John's. So we haven't heard about it, but this 2030 program sets new goals for certification in the Green Sanctuary process by expanding its scope and including more collaborative work, sharing ideas, having a wider global impact, which is needed. So the new 2030 process includes 4 elements: mitigation, community resilience, environmental justice, and congregational transformation. The mitigation is reducing carbon footprint. Community resilience is helping our community adapt and thrive in a changing climate. Environmental justice is helping frontline EJ communities, environmental justice communities, address the harms caused by climate change. And here at home, congregational transformation, changing ourselves in our community by building climate work into our lives. But what have we done so far to prepare us for this next leg? Just give you a little history. These binders, is my show and tell, contain the full history, the full story of what we've been doing here at St. John's for, over decades now. And a lot of people have been working on this. People come and go. There are a few of us still left, and this is kind of a call to action to get the chance to revitalize the Green Sanctuary here at St. John's. I guess we started back in 2007 on this. And the UUA takes us through a huge drill, and so you can understand why only about 30% of all congregations throughout this country and throughout, I think even in Mexico and other countries, they're only 30% of us. So it's a lot of work. So we started really in earnest in 2014. It's about 10 years ago when we worked on a plan to green the church, green our habits, green our kitchen, green our RE program, our worship services, our social justice ministry, green our future. Our assignment was to complete a comprehensive environmental assessment. It was in 3 parts, and then propose action plans and fulfill those action plans based on this three-part assessment. So the 3 parts were a professional energy audit, a congregational assessment, an environmental justice assessment, those 3 parts. And the energy audit was not just changing light bulbs. We had to block up some of the leaks in our building, new insulation, an HVAC system, and we studied the possibility of creating a bioswale between the school and the church because there's a huge amount of water that comes across our shared parking lots. How do we do that? We even looked into solar panels, and at that time it was a lot more expensive than it is now, so maybe we could continue to do that. So the congregational assessment is how we live our 7th UU principle. Sunday services, RE programs on earth care, community outreach like our Changing Course program, which we did for years until COVID hit and switched us off. We could continue that again, perhaps. It is a great way of showcasing what we're doing here and also working with the community and learning ourselves how to work in community. We did clothing swaps and book exchanges, and we worked on our kitchen, doing sustainable practices, recycling, composting practices, growing veggie beds and pollinator gardens. We've done a lot. Then in the environmental justice assessment, that's a challenge for UUs, and it has been. And I can see this is why they're doing this next leg of operations here, to try to engage more people and realizing the crisis with frontline communities having a disproportionate impact on their communities. So that would be unfair distribution of Earth's resources as well, and also the harms caused by the abuse of these resources. We're all aware of that. So we worked for our project, an EJ project, we worked in Northside to try to help them grow a co-op grocery store. That fell through, unfortunately, but it was a good effort. Then we talked about maybe working with our partner church in Transylvania and learning from them how they cope in stress times. With Cuba, and some of us went to with First Church down to Cuba to talk particularly about their challenges. And the Congo, I went to the Congo and reported on that here, where we learned about the importance of the power of community in these struggling countries. And this is something we can learn from them. The seventh UU principle is relatively new to UUs. We only added it in 1989 as a kind of an afterthought. People began seeing life in the world more as organically connected and less as mechanistically ordered into separate functioning silos. That's a prevailing philosophy, and we need to change that paradigm. So it's more than the UU principle. The seventh UU principle is more than just about the environment, though. It's a beautiful statement if you look at it and meditate on it. It's a beautiful connection about a statement of human connection to each other, connection to the future and to past generations, and connection to the earth systems that embrace us. The power and promise of our seventh UU principle is needed now more than ever. So I invite you to look through these binders, which tells our story, and then these can act as probably learning tools to help us guide us into the future, what we have done and what we need to do. How can we join with other faith-based organizations like Faith Communities Go Green, with the NAACP, who has a committee on environmental justice, and then we can try to reach a broader front in this fight. So here at St. John's, we've lost some of our key members, and we call ourselves Green Sanctuary Partners. But there are some of us here still left, and we're hoping to add more of you to the team. I want to especially thank David Terry, for example. We had kind of a hiatus after COVID, and he just kept the gardens looking beautiful here and kept the work going on in quiet. And I just want to thank him for that. Is he there? Hi, David. So I have a sign-up sheet. I left it down there. A sign-up sheet if you want to add your name to the Green Partners list, Green Sanctuary Partners list, and then I would also like to invite you to join us this afternoon. Pachamama is having an Earth Listening Circle, and it goes on all this afternoon. This is a chance to think about our steps ahead and what we need to be doing. And Marie Inonli will tell you a little bit more about that in a little bit later. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place, to these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. St. John's is committed to creating a safe and caring community, working for peace and social justice, and celebrating beliefs that respect freedom of thought. Thank you for giving to our beloved community.
Thank you, Stephen. That was beautiful. The UUA is having a climate revival, and so the reflection that I have is a sermon written by Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhart, and I'm thrilled to share it with you this morning. How do we embrace joy, rekindle excitement, and reimagine new ways of working towards intersectional climate justice? Maybe one of the answers comes from outside our human shared perspectives. Maybe we take a cue from a nature-loving robot in the wilds named Mosscap. The solar punk novella, Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, is a love letter to mutual support, just and harmonious relationship building, and nature systems of which humans are only a part. Sibling Dex, one of the protagonists, is a monk whose vocation calls them to travel between communities, serving tea and offering a space of accompaniment for grief-worn and the weary. On their travels, Sibling Dex meets an unlikely companion, a wild-built, sentient robot named Splendid Speckled Mosscap. As their friendship unfolds, Mosscap and Dex discover they hold a similar guiding question on their individual but overlapping journeys. What do humans need? As the unlikely duo adventures through the wilderness, Mosscap and Dex, the robot born of the forest who longs to learn about humans, and the urban monk who revels in the solitary life of travel between villages, find companionship as they learn about themselves and the world. The unfolding friendship between MOSCAP and DEX teaches us how mutual support not only ensures each other's survival, but that there is a joy in supporting each other's thriving. For this duo, living in a world where climate justice is normal means centering relationships over capitalism, natural systems for their inherent worth, and interspecies love and respect over extractive practices. It centers beauty, imagination, play, dancing, and sharing good food with companions. These lessons from a fictional world suggest to us that the answer to the question of what do humans need is mutual support, humans supporting humans, and finding joy in healing our world. What humans also need is to honor other natural systems and support their flourishing because of their inherent worth, not just for what humans can extract from them. What humans need are thriving ecosystems, clean waterways for us and the flora and fauna who depend on them, and renewable sources of energy that work in harmony with nature, not at the cost of its depletion. There are many truths that we humans have uncovered as we work towards intersectional climate justice. Many of us have been engaged for years, and we may have grown weary and frustrated. We also understand how climate injustice affects the most vulnerable. Its unequal distribution of damage is experienced by those who historically have the least power to change it. And there is another truth that is starting to emerge. We have who and what we need for a reimagining of climate justice centered in love. We have what we need when we honor that. At our core as humans, we want to live fulfilling lives, and we want other beings to live fulfilled and healthy lives too. We have what we need when we remember that we are a part of nature and natural systems, not outside of them. We have what we need when we affirm, as the narrator of Wild Built reminds us, that human-made constructs prioritize the healing of the not humanly constructed. We have what we need when we honor the weariness of an uncertain world, yes, but also when we remember that the dystopian future is not foretold. We have what we need when we work towards brightness, towards a world of justice-driven thriving, where a healthy climate and natural systems are reflective of, sustained by, and celebrated by human beings, healthy humans, and we are sustained by them in turn. To be excited that we are doing this all over the world and that there is power in this fellowship and connection, this is also a truth and a need. Whether the work of intersectional climate justice focuses on indigenous plants and shade justice in urban Los Angeles, or the work is the elimination of agricultural practices brought by colonization in the Midwest, or the work is creating training programs for members of the global majority to enter environmental justice careers on the Eastern Seaboard. You, the spirit-filled climate justice workers, you are affirmed. Your work is important. Your work is the spiritual work of reimagining and renewing our promises to one another and the planet. Your climate work is already putting love at the center. You are what people need. You are what people need to heal this world. I need you. We need each other. And the good news is that we already have what we need. Let's celebrate it. Let's get excited about it. Let us be transformed by our unlikely and globe-spanning companionships, our faith built on generosity and interconnectedness. May we revel in our unlikely companionships, like the tea chaplain's sibling Dex and the wild-built robot, splendid speckled mosscap in the solar punk novella that imagines a flourishing world built through strengthened relationships. May our faith be reinvigorated by knowing that there is good work and joyful work and successful work already being done. May we offer respite, a cup of tea to the weary, yes, but may we also make celebratory spaces for the reimagining of our intersectional, unstoppable, and unfathomable strength to make change in this world.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That was lovely. The music that you're going to see is called Part of It. It's by Leah Morris and Adam Pod, and the Climate Justice Revival team commissioned this piece. I hope you enjoy it.
There's an eternal sacred circle. We are part of it. There's an eternal sacred circle. We are part of it. We are only part of it. There's a divine and loving wisdom. We
there is a tree called by locals the Tree of Life, and it stands in the middle of the Bahrain Desert. The tree is alone with no water or other plants for miles around, and temperatures reach 115 degrees Fahrenheit. The rainfall is less than 3 inches a year, and the tree is over 400 years old. Locals believe the tree is guarded by the god of water. Another legend says the tree is located on the ancient site of the Garden of Eden. It seems like an impossible truth. Perhaps the tree of life is a world tree found across multiple mythologies. This is a tree that holds up the cosmos and provides a link between the heavens, earth, and the underworld. One of the best known examples of this comes from Norse mythology and is known as the Yggdrasil tree. We find trees playing an important role in many major religions. Islam sees tree planting as a form of charity because many others enjoy the products of the tree and benefits cross species. Islam also calls for protection of trees. The scriptures tell a tale of a young boy throwing stones at a date palm to gather fruit. And the Prophet Muhammad was said to correct the boy, telling him to eat what falls without harming the tree. In Christianity, trees are mentioned no less than 525 times in the Bible. The only living beings mentioned more are humans. Trees hold special significance in both the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament. The book of Genesis speaks of the tree of life, which represents God's presence and eternal life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which the tale tells us that people ate from, desiring to be all-knowing like God. Several species of trees are mentioned in Buddhist texts. This includes the Bodhi fig tree, which is known as the Tree of Awakening, said to be the tree under which Buddha was born and enlightened. Sounds like a big day. Hinduism also names certain trees as sacred to protect them from being the spoils of humankind. The banyan tree is said to represent life, growth, and fertility. The banana tree plays an important part of Hindu rituals. When we see a symbol reflected across so many different expressions of human experience, we're called to pause and reflect on the important universal truths to which the symbol might be pointing. Ever since before I entered seminary, I felt that trees were some of my most significant spiritual teachers. We're in a symbiotic relationship with trees. We exhale the CO2 that they need. In exchange, they produce oxygen and provide homes for many species, including us. We need trees and they need us. Is it any wonder that trees are the symbol of life itself? They invite us to connect more deeply with the rhythms of a planet that is older and deeply complex. Trees show us how to slow down, to move through life aware that no matter what happens, the rhythms and cycles of nature continue. No matter what winters we face, spring returns. They teach us that throughout all of these cycles, we need one another. And they are powerful reminders of the interdependent web of life. So how do we honor this teacher, this companion? Through stewardship, through responsible care for our planet. We know that 11% of global greenhouse gas emissions are a result of deforestation. This is comparable to all of the vehicles currently on the planet. We know that the 7 warmest years on record have all happened since 2014. The impact of the hurricane this week shows us the consequences of continued climate change. Towns have been destroyed. People remain trapped. And trees are a part of the answer. Tropical forests are effective in storing carbon, yet projects focused on restoring forests receive only about 3% of all climate funding. And these are just a few facts. I could go on for quite some time, but we know already that the situation is dire and that you don't need me to stand here and share with you statistics that you can Google. With all the stories of destruction this weekend, we know how important it is to address climate change, starting on a national level. But it can seem hopeless. How do we change things? If we were to respond to a call to protect all life, including life for our children and for their children, we need to find out how to remain spiritually alive in this work ourselves. So remember the tree of life in the desert of Bahrain? Perhaps it has something to offer us this morning. There are currently 3 thoughts about how the tree survives in such impossible conditions. The first is that the tree is protected by a water god. Maybe not the idea that you are totally going to go in for. But remaining spiritually alive requires trust in something greater than ourselves as individual people. Perhaps that's trust in the divine, in the sacred connections we have with one another, trust in that interdependent web. If we treated trees as a sacred part of life on earth, how might we act then? If we respond to nature as we are called to do so by so many religions, what would be different? The second local belief about the tree of life is that it stands on the site of the Garden of Eden, perhaps being the very tree of life mentioned in the Bible. In order to remain hopeful and spiritually alive, we must find our own connection to stories, especially ancient stories passed down through generations. The stories that teach us, that offer new ways and new insights about how to approach the world around us, even if we might be in a moment of despair. Where do we find ourselves in the stories? And what stories will we leave behind for those who come after? The final explanation for the miraculous tenacity of the tree of life is that it possesses an incredibly deep taproot, reaching far into the ground to connect to water that is deep. Remaining spiritually alive requires that we too be deeply grounded. We need to avoid the temptation to be pulled this way and that way by everything that happens, by the immediate concerns of the day, by the winds that roll in, threatening our sense of balance or our plans, by politics or fads or petty arguments with others or politics. We need connection to that which is deeper, longer lasting. We need to have a deep well to draw from. And for many of us here today, that's what being a part of a faith tradition offers us. A deep taproot sustaining us, even when present circumstances might threaten our sense of stability. My beloved spiritual companions, this weekend, as we're called to climate justice, we are reminded that we are called by the future. We are called by all of life. There is much work to be done to protect our world and those within it. Yet the tree of life reminds us to stay connected to the sacred, to recognize our place in the story, and to draw from a deep well. May we learn from the tree and remain spiritually alive as we work together to create a world where the interdependent web of all existence is supported and strengthened by each one of us. Beloved, blessed be. Amen.
Now I'd like to invite those of us who have some spoken announcements forward. As I said at the beginning, there's a lot going on at St. John's, so come on up. All right, looks like Nicole's here first, so. It's that time again. For those of you new in the last year, this is our 10th year of joining the Out of the Darkness Walk to support the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They have 4 areas of focus in research, support, advocacy, and education. One of those educational programs is the More Than Sad program that teaches parents and educators about mental health conditions, the warning signs of suicide, and the steps that they can take for at-risk students. The walk is 3 weeks from today. It's a 2-mile walk at Sawyer Point. Registration starts at 12, the program starts at 1, the walk would be around 1:45. You want to get there early to get the little roses in the skyline before they're gone. As registration is online and far more difficult than it needs to be, I admit. So I have my laptop set up to help you, and we have business cards with QR codes and things to help you. If you registered last year, you do have to use the same login and password. If you forgot your password and wrote it down, I have those from last year. As of now, we have 10 people registered and have raised $302.22. Now, First Church and Heritage have both put out on the e-nos, and I'm going to be talking to First Church next week. So let's get a friendly competition going. How much can St. John's raise? Just saying. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, Nicole. Joetta, would you like to come up?
Hi, everybody. Joetta Pro here in my social justice advocacy hat, wearing that hat. So reference was made to politics. How do we as a church deal with politics? Well, you individually can do whatever you like, but we as a church only do nonpartisan political work. And as part of that work, that effort, the Kentucky UU Justice Action Network, of which a lot of St. John members are a part because we live in Kentucky, 25 or so of us, we're bringing postcards that even those in Ohio can sign and fill out. It's an effort to reach out to low-frequency voters in important states that matter for the coming election, and you can learn all about it at the table out there. Next week, I will also have postcards for Amendment 2 in Kentucky, which Kujan has, the Kentucky UUs have taken a stance against, and it's a give the money away to the private schools amendment, just say it that way. School choice, school vouchers. So we're working against that because we feel like that does not serve the majority, which 90% of Kentucky children go to public schools. Yeah. So thank you. Stop by the table or check with Dot or me if you have questions. Questions out there later. Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Joetta. All right, Marie, you want to come on up? Tell us.
If you want another angle on the issues that Joetta mentioned, I worked in a charter school and attended private school. I have thoughts. I agree, but anyway, but real lived experience. So in any case, for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Maria Nonley, and I would like to share an anecdote about an experience Alicia and I shared during one of our many planning meetings for RE. when we were on a video chat, which was new during early stages of COVID. We are on opposite sides of Good Sam Hospital, and we had to pause our conversation as an ambulance was coming by. First, we could hear it. One of us could hear it and through the speaker, and then the other was kind of an interesting sound effect. But in any case, these alarms meant that we could not hear each other. And you might wonder what that has to do with, the climate that I am about to speak about. Well, we are exposed to screaming headlines and sound bites that can obscure the quiet messages of both nature and scientists. So this afternoon, we are offering an opportunity to sit and listen to your quiet inner wisdom and share your greatest concerns about climate heating based on your lived experiences. The Pachamama Alliance began based on interactions with the Achua people of the Amazon basin, mostly in Ecuador and Peru. And any of you who live a decent life because you are taking pharmaceuticals, approved ones, may know that many of those discoveries come about based on nature, herbs and plants and indigenous wisdom. And there is a tremendous reservoir of potential future cures and treatments that may disappear for the future of our progeny if we don't care about what's happening seemingly far away. But as our own community, we need to follow that axiom, right, of think global and act local. But our lived experiences, what's happening with Crow, concerned about the Ohio River here, what's happening upstream and downstream, influences how we act not only here, but interact with what are the great concerns and the mission of the Pachamama Alliance moving forward. It has taken a brave act to sort of pause some of the educational activities that they're doing to say, okay, we are at a crossroads and we really need to consider how we can be most effective. There are many environmental organizations, as Jean reminded us what St. John's has done here in our building and in our community, but we as an international organization, but having a local affiliate called PACA for the Cincinnati area that I've actively worked with for some years, really are interested in learning what your priorities are. And we all know that we interact with the world differently. And I know what I do is different from some years ago. So anyway, I could give a whole sermon on that, but this is supposed to be the announcement phase. So I just really encourage you. A lot of outdoor activities have been canceled or postponed. So to take a couple hours this afternoon, there's still room. And listen, share. Jim, who is part of PACA, has a guided curriculum that I hope you will find eye-opening and help to make the world a better place, not only for us, but for our progeny. Thank you. Oh, and it's at 2 o'clock this afternoon here.
Thank you. All right, two more. We have Carol up next.
Hello, I'm Carol Fensel, and I'm here to remind you about the chalice groups. Last week we heard a lot about them, but some of you signed up, and a few of you thought, oh, I mean to do that, but I didn't quite get around to it. If you meant to do it, you're lucky because we still have room in our 2 Monday night groups and in our Friday afternoon in-person group. So there are 2 virtual groups on Monday night and the Friday afternoon group that's here at the church. We'll have forms that are outside in the lobby if you'd like to sign up there, or you can use the QR code that's in the bulletin. And the deadline is Tuesday.
The October soup and bread lunch has been postponed until November 10th. Thanks. Put it on your calendar.
All right. I think that's, well, we have lots more announcements, but you know where to find them. Thanks.
In the interest of and respect for your time, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the benediction. And if you need to go, please do. If you can or would like to stay for the final video, We Rise Together, it's a lovely piece. We can play that right after the benediction, but don't feel like you have to stay. Nobody's going to side-eye you. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another, the watchword of our lives together, so our light goes out everywhere into the world. Our light goes out everywhere healing and hope are needed. Let us go in peace to love and serve this world and one another. Go in peace, go in love. Blessed be.
We will rise together, you and I, rise together hand in hand. Come on, we will rise together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom rings for everyone. Find a way to justice rising like the sun. We will sing together, you and I, sing together hand in hand. Come on, we will sing together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom rings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. We will dance together, you and I, dance together hand in hand. Come on, we will dance together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom rings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. We will shout together, you and I, shout together hand in hand. Come on, we will shout together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom rings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. To justice